Hello, welcome to Creatureville, I'm Jeff. Today I'm going to show you how I made a Crescent Moon photo booth prop. I was asked to create a Crescent Moon photo booth prop for a wedding. These types of props are fairly popular, but I saw it as a fun opportunity to put my own creative spin on it. The theme of the wedding was inspired by the Smashing Pumpkins music video for Tonight Tonight, which in turn pays homage to the 1902 silent film A Trip to the Moon. As usual, I started with a sketch. This one isn't the final version I used on the moon's design, I actually finalized that off camera, but it's pretty close and helped me get headed in the right direction. Once I had a drawing I was happy with, I printed it out in sections across multiple sheets of paper, taped them together, and cut out the outline. I traced that shape onto a sheet of plywood, then used transfer paper to copy the rest of the details onto the board. A more straightforward method would have been to project the image directly onto the wood and trace it. But at the time of this recording, I didn't have access to a projector, so I had to go with this method. Once the design was transferred onto the plywood, I brought it outside and cut it out using a jigsaw. I don't have any sawhorses, so I made do with a folding table to support the wood while I worked. After cutting out the design, I filled in the rougher areas with wood filler, then smoothed the edges with an electric sander. Once everything was cleaned up, it was ready for paint. Next I built the seat where the guests would sit to make it look like they were perched on the moon. I used 2x4s and wood screws for this part. I'm not a carpenter, so this step was definitely the most intimidating for me. I measured the dimensions, cut the boards to size, and assembled the basic frame. It looked fine at first, but it felt a little wobbly when I tested it, so I added more 2x4s to reinforce the structure to make it a little more stable for guests to sit on. I wanted the prop to be portable so I could transport it to the wedding venue in my car. To make that possible, I built it in sections that could easily be assembled and taken apart. I also wanted to avoid drilling visible holes into the face of the moon. A friend suggested a clever workaround. Screw the moon into a 2x4, then cover the screw heads with wood filler. That way the 2x4 could be bolted into the seat frame and removed when needed, without leaving any visible hardware on the front. I also needed a way to securely attach the top section of the moon to the bottom. After doing some research and talking through it with some friends, I decided to use a 2x4 as a connecting brace on the back. It fits into two pockets built from 2x4s and plywood, mounted on the back of each section. This method keeps the moon aligned and sturdy while still allowing for easy disassembly. Due to bad weather, I had to do a lot of woodworking in my room. Thankfully, I had a big drop cloth to catch most of the sawdust and wood chips. Then I assembled everything I had so far and tested it to make sure it all worked. I took the moon pieces outside and gave them a coat of spray primer, followed by a layer of yellow paint. The paint was thick enough that it completely covered the original face drawing I had transferred onto the wood, which meant I had to recreate it during the painting process. Luckily, I'd spent so much time with that design that I had memorized it, so redrawing it by hand wasn't too difficult. To add some extra decoration and to hide the 2x4s at the base of the moon, I made a few cloud shapes out of plywood to place in front. Just like with the moon, I cut them out using a jigsaw and painted them with acrylics. The clouds helped finish off the scene and gave the photo booth a nice layered look. Got this package in the mail today, and it's full of stuff for the moon prop that I'm making. I got curtain lights, some LED curtain lights. Oh, here we go. This sheer navy blue curtain. I got these wooden stars that, I don't know if I'm going to use a lot of these, but I am going to use a few of them, or at least one. I was thinking of spray painting it gold and hanging it from the tip of the moon. The last thing I got was this backdrop stand. And this is going to hold up all of this stuff. So I'm just going to put it together and then I'll show you how that looks. Once the seat was solid, I painted it black and moved on to the cushion. I found a starry sky patterned fabric that felt like the perfect match for the theme. To assemble the cushion, I laid the fabric face down and placed a piece of foam folded into quarters on top. I added a plywood board cut to the size of the seat. Then I pulled the fabric tight around the foam and stapled it on the back of the board, creating a nice soft cushion. To add a little bit of extra flair and ambiance, I added some LED light strips to the backs of the clouds. It's an inexpensive way to make this photo prop stand out. Okay, so I just realized I didn't show how I was able to make these clouds stand up on their own. So on the back, I bought some hinges, and because this wood is too thin, I just used hot glue and hot glued one half of the hinge to the back of the board. And then I have this scrap piece here, and I hot glued it into place as well. And then just took a cheap rope that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I hot glued that in place so that it's standing on a slick surface like wood flooring, it'll stop and it won't just flatten out and fall backwards. So that's how I did that. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.